Thank you very much. Good morning. On my extreme left is the Greater Accra Regional Staff Officer called Managing Civil. Then followed by the Deputy Regional Commander, Assistant Commissioner of Immigration, Evelyn Techi. Followed by the Regional Commander himself, Assistant Commissioner of Immigration, Samuel Masintali Amado. Then
thank you so much, Mr. Abigani. I'm going to also introduce the CEO of SELS, co-CEO of SELS, Razak Jinji. Thank you so much. He's hosting. Now, I think I'm going to give to those in front to introduce your name and where the school you are speaking. Thank you.
My name is Koma Tengi from Pinnacle University.
My name is Dr. A. Nkoma. I'm managing provider of
My name is Mr. Kamara. I'm the editor of the course of Government School.
Adam Prince representing SELS.
I'm Isaac from State Police.
I'm Prosper Yamido, representing Center Communications and Management Institute.
I'm Les from Olo, representing
I'm Bonketon from ACCRA.
I'm from Kampu, English Language Laboratory. I'm Maswe Standard from Institute of Export and Shipping Management.
My name is Umar Al-Hassan from Dura Institute of Languages.
Pastor John Sudi, Word of Faith Christian School.
Thank you so much, and you are all welcome. Now we call upon Mr. Razak Jinji to give us a welcome address.
Mr. Chairman, Regional Commander, Ghana Immigration Service, Mr. Samuel Masintali, and the Assistant Commissioner, all head of private fisheries, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, you are welcome to this important meeting. It is a pleasure of the CEO of SELS to host this event and to welcome all of you to SELS. And on behalf of the founder, Alhaji Idris Mumudi, and the entire staff of SELS, which I'm part of them, I would especially like to thank the regional commander and his team of Ghana Immigration Service for being present here today for this important meeting. It is the honor of SELS, and shows that the contributions the private institutions are giving to the development of this country. It is also the pleasure to welcome the representatives of foreign nations in Ghana, who also come in to assist their foreign students in any other markets. We say when you are called for such a meeting, it means that the government has in mind what is going to be positive for the three parties. When I say three parties, the government, the institutions, and the students. And it is our belief that the government is giving us something that the government will benefit by itself, the institutions also benefit, and then the students who come to take the knowledge from the country to go to their country also benefit. SEPS as a whole has trained thousands of students. If I should recall, SEPS has started in 1989 September. So it has trained various students, those working in other areas across Africa, in tourism areas, in economic areas, in finance areas. They come in to learn the language and go and practice. So it is our pleasure to thank the Ghana Education Service for choosing SEPS to host this meeting. Once again, we say thank you for choosing SEPS and you're welcome to SEPS.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chris. We will call upon the original commander to give us his main address.
Good morning, everyone. It's my pleasure to be amongst you this morning. We cannot underscore the importance of education in every nation's development agenda, especially the private ones. And in the category you belong to, it's even more important because it is bringing in students from other countries to train them to take up responsibilities globally. I can attest, I've met a few students of SELS at international conferences and at international airports, being bilingual secretaries. I think my connection with SELS and some of the other schools started way back in 2001 thereabouts. I was then at the ACCRA border post. Most of your foreign students fly into Lumi, but then connections to Kotoka wasn't as it is today. So most of in Gabon, Equatorial Guinea, they all fly to Lumi and come in through the borders. So that was when the connection started with SELS. There were 3-4 other schools. So I'm happy to note that these institutions have grown from strength to strength. I took over the region on the 3rd of June this year. That's about 2 months ago. And as our work requires us, we need to know our stakeholders, discuss common issues, share ideas, and see how best we can improve our relationship. And at the same time, make life easy and comfortable for your students, you, the institutions, and for ourselves. So the main reason for our meeting today is to get to know the faces behind the letters we see, and you also get to see the faces behind the signatures and the processes that goes on to issue permits to your students. Excuse my donation, I'm having a bad cold. If it were possible to postpone, but yesterday I didn't know I would be this strong to come here. But we'll get done. That is the first and famous things. And then the few observations we have made over the 1 or 2 months. Together, we will see how best to improve the situation to the benefit of you, the schools, the students, and Ghana will still remain a safe place for all of us. We know globally, terrorism and other things are on the rise. Those of us who follow international security issues, even locally, we know what is happening in the Sahel region, which affects us directly here. Yes. Niger, Mali, Burkina, that area, most of you who follow news are aware that everything is not well there. And those of you who follow news would have been aware that Ghana has been issued with alerts, threats of terrorist attacks. Just last week, there was an attack in Burkina. That area is more or less where Ghana, Burkina, and Cote d'Ivoire, around the Bonchachi area. There was an attack there last week. So, because of that, everybody is trying to ensure that his or her system is well policed so that miscreants don't take advantage of our systems, use some of these our institutions to comfortably reside, plan, and execute whatever they want to do. What Immigration as a Service is doing now is we try to, some of you who follow the news will realize that most of the regions have started educational campaigns. You see in radios, television sets, asking landlords, landladies to begin to ask would be tenants or residents who are of what? Who are not Ghanaians to produce something to show that they are really registered or are known by the authorities. In fact, it's going to start full blown. There's going to be a national press conference to come on any moment. And when that comes on stream, sometimes we will go on swoops. Some of your schools, your students, some don't have permits. And what happens is most of the time, if you are caught at the wrong place, maybe at the wrong time, and unfortunately you don't have permit, we will not say, oh, let's go to SELF and confirm if you're really a student. Straight away, we'll buckle you up, send you back to wherever you came from. And after that, your chances of getting back to Ghana will be difficult. You may be able to enter, but if you apply for permit subsequently, it will be in our system that you've been picked up A, B, C, and D. We don't just sit down, we bring the applications, we know. We do some checks. So that is why we thought it's important to get in touch with you guys for us together to see how best we can make life comfortable for our students and at the same time avoid unnecessary problems for ourselves as well, administrators and CEOs of our institutions. Terrorists use various ways and means. I can come in, pretend to be a student, enroll, all right, whilst attending my classes, I'm also doing my job, get used to the system, that I know where to pass and what to do. There is no way you and I can tell that person has a ill motive. But a situation whereby somebody will be picked up, it is, yes, he has a permit. I'm just citing an example. He's with ABC Center of Languages. Then we come there. Yes, he got the documentation from the school, but nothing shows he attends lectures or classes there. Then it becomes like, okay, that institution is being used for what? Perpetuate or to facilitate things that may not be new to our security. But the truth is that these days we are on their heels. We don't know who is good, who is bad. So we need to know and have everybody's data. That is why we are embarking on the sensitization. And after the sensitization, there could be times You may be at lectures, officers will walk in, undercover officers will walk in and try to find out who are those in your class. Or there will be times I will be asked to provide data of students that I have issued permits to. Then with that data, another team altogether will come here unannounced to see if that student is really in class. And this will create problems for us if, after giving a student permit, immigration has been here 3-4 times, that student is nowhere to be found. Then it begins to raise what? Questions. So these are the issues I want us to look at this morning. So I noted a few points that I want us to look at. Yes, to put everything in context, our main concern is the quality of documentation we receive from you, the schools, in processing these permits. Some schools are doing very well. I don't have to name schools, but some too are not doing well at all in terms of the documentation. See, if the quality of the documentation is poor, it is vulnerable to what? To being forged. If it is that poor, somebody standing elsewhere can just reproduce it. Signing signatures these days is an art. And look at your signature 3-4 times. I'll be able to do it even better than you do. But we've had few instances where we haven't gotten to the stage of coming to you, the schools, to confirm. It's the universities that will go to the schools because their system is well structured. But with the few that we have called students for interview, you will find out he or she has no idea where the school is even located. Meanwhile, he has documentation, everything supposedly coming from that school to secure a permit. You look at the demeanor of the person, fine, in terms of language, age, might not be an issue. But for a 55 plus or even 45-year-old woman appearing before us purportedly to be getting a permit just to come and study language sometimes leaves much to be desired. So when we do the additions and subtractions, we call for an interview. Some they will never come. So many, they never show up. The few who will come will realize that they don't even know where the school is. And it's partly because our documentation is quite poor. There are some schools you can't reproduce their letter. Once you reproduce, you can see. But some of the schools themselves, they are so inconsistent that even the signature, Kwesi signs today, tomorrow Kwesi signs, and they are two different things. And when you ask, they say, yes, I did it. So when that happens, it gives room. And the danger is that bad people will take advantage and create problems for all of us. Terrorists don't know colors. Their target is where there are people, but they want to hit and hit hard. They hit ACCRA more, yes, they've killed thousands and hundreds in Ghana, and that is what they want. You can never tell. Your uncle or even your children may be there at that material moment when this is going to happen. So please, we want to appeal to you to improve on your documentation. That is the key problem that we have seen. The documentation. And the way some of the schools, I don't know, they don't attach any importance to the documentation they send to us. The content of the letter, how it is even addressed, it is specific. You have engaged foreign students who are learning under your institution. And it is your responsibility to give them or to write to immigration request for permits for them to enable them to stay legally and go through that course of study. So your address, your letter should be clear. Application for residence permit. And some of them say to whom it may concern, which means you don't even know where the letter is going. So I was telling them that in the past, the institutions would have taken us for a joke. Because if you are writing to apply for a permit for a student and you say to whom it may concern, and we also accept that and process. Then tomorrow there's an issue, they go and pull out that file. So which officer worked on this file? You know, we know it's difficult. Sometimes interventions and all that. Let's try to make sure our documentation. You are writing an application, you know, I mean, it's a straightforward formatting. Application for residence permit, that is for the first timers. Then when you are renewing, application for renewal of residence permit. But some of them are on a 3-year course. And I know with the language schools, some of them, they finish this straight, that's another one, that's another. But a university with a student starting at level 100 to 400, every year application for residence permit. And every year they keep on, issuing admission letter. It doesn't make sense. That tells me that, oh, this is just something to make up. Because when you enter the university, your admission letter states that you are here to do a Bachelor of Science in this. And the course duration is 4 years. So after the first year, you provide your admission letter. Subsequently, is what? Application for renewal. The evidence we would want is, has he paid his or her school fees? And that is another big area I have observed. Some of us, our receipts leaves much to be desired. The receipts we give to the students, or the receipts that come with some of the applications. If we really want to do some due diligence, we will reject up to 80%. The quality is simply too bad. You can actually print it out there. And in fact, it will be on our records that it is your school that has sponsored that student. Something happens, you come, then you have no idea. But you will not be absorbed. That is why I want us to look at these things, the receipts. Then you find a student, is applied, he's been given admission to pursue a course. The same admission letter states that before registration, he should have paid 50 or 60%. Then he's coming for permit. He has paid only 5%. I mean, you understand? Because if you admit a foreign student here to pursue your course, you will not let him start classes when he hasn't even paid anything. Or the course fee is, say, 900 Ghana. And he pays only 100 Ghana. And you allow him to attend classes for 6 months or even 2 months when the course is about 5 months. But these are some of the challenges you see. The course fee is 800. The student has only paid 100 Ghana. And you forward an application with that, expecting us to believe that he's really a student and issue a permit. The truth is that these days it's difficult to just get the permit. The easiest is the student way. So most of them are using your institutions. But you don't know what they are doing out there. Last month in Legon area, we did a swoop in the night. We had about 40 to 50 females. Half were Ghanaians, half were non-Ghanaians. Some of them had permits from schools, but they confessed. They don't even know where the schools are. They are just in here doing their night job. When I say night job, you understand? Yes. We removed them to the various countries they came from and cancelled the permits. If we begin to trace back, and I think that is where we may get to, if we begin coming back to you, the schools, maybe you will have to fire some of your staff. In certain situations, some of your key staff really get them the documentation to get the permits. But the danger is you don't know what the person is into. So at the end of the day, you could be held accountable. That look, you know what he's doing, you are giving him that protection to perpetuate that. Or probably you are a beneficiary of what he or she is doing. So these are the issues we need to look at. And then the admission letter again. I have seen schools addressing their admission letters to Ghana Immigration Service. So they processed them and they got to my table. So I queried it. I asked the officer, and then, did immigration apply to this school for admission? For what? Somebody has applied to your school for admission. You have offered him or her the admission. Immigration requires a copy of that to process his permit, just to show that yes, really the person. So you don't address that admission letter to me, which means there is no admission letter. You are just doing something to satisfy me as an institution to give him the permit. So this is where I say you guys got to up your game in terms of the documentation. We all know how, you apply for language, yes. You have been offered admission to pursue a 6-month course in A, B, C, D, addressed to the student. Then when you give him the application letter, then he attaches a copy of that. Then the receipt and whatever. You don't need to address that to us. But I see that most of the time. Some of you don't, most of the schools do. In fact, the schools are over almost 200 schools that we are dealing with. And I can tell those here are the responsible ones. From experience, those of us who are always on the when we don't want to come to the limelight. But you, the responsible ones, will have to help us get the irresponsible ones to the line. Because if something happens today and they pick up somebody in it's going to affect how things are done for you in the schools. The skill will be tightened, and if students come in and it's difficult for them to get permits, it's a disincentive. You understand? So please, we are here to plead with you, up your documentation. It's still the same basic documentation, but it should be at least the quality. Then the receipt, before I forget. Some schools just take the letterhead and type something, say that is it. How do you expect me to believe that? There is no accountability. I just pick the letterhead and write something. Receipt. Application letterhead. Admission letterhead. Receipt letterhead. How do you do an accounting system? Letterhead. We should follow standard practice. Because when we use those things to process the permits for you, we are also audited. They audit to see the quality of what we do. Because whatever we do affects the security of the state. These are people who come in. We must do due diligence to be sure that they are here for the purpose for which they are here to. But even if not, if there is an issue and they come, the school has done a standard job. We have done our own standard. Nobody is in a person's mind to know what he or she is doing. So please, let's up our game. And the next thing is a middleman. In fact, I've never seen any of these faces around for the past 2 months. And you always find people who have no link to the school at all, that they are the people who are bringing the things with all manner of, and they are those who are creating these problems. The middlemen. Fine, we cannot force you that do the permit for the students. But I think it would have been ideal, like the universities. We have offices on their campuses, permanent. So the fees and everything is factored into their fee schedule. So when they come, they only call for their passport and pictures. And possibly when they fill the form, they sign. In fact, so far since I came, about 99% of the application forms I see, that is our green form that the students fill. It is never the student's signature. They try to imitate it. In most instances, they just write the initials there. But if there is a problem, everybody involved in that process will be picked up. For trying to even sign for that, you may just be doing it because he wasn't available. But it could mean something else. So in these days of terrorism and other things, let's be careful. And the other things I'll talk to you about is the technical institutions, computer and those things. You will see a gentleman who is already a computer guru comes and says he's trying to learn programming. Meanwhile, when you try him and give him money, just realize that. Fine. We are doing business. But let's look at the caliber of people that we engage as students. I know the technical institutions, the computer centers and those things. Particular nationalities will begin to flood your premises because they must legalize their stay in Ghana at all costs. They don't want to go back. Because they have no business in Ghana at all. Their business is Sakawa. And we are on their heels. They already know the computer more than you even the school teaching the computer. The level they know, they are way above you. But they will knock at your door that we are coming to do programming and coming. They just want documentation. In fact, if you say they should pay 10,000, they will pay. Because they have all the money. They have all the money. And once you give him, you'll never find him attending classes even one day. So I think in such situations, you can also help us by informing us that this student registered, paid all right, did everything. But for a month now, we haven't seen him. So that we'll fish out wherever he is and probably cancel the permit. But as long as he stays with that permit and something happens, it will be connected to your institution. So please, let's get the students and let's be talking to them where they go. They may be genuine, oh, let's go to East Legon, have fun, blah, blah, blah. But there are certain places, if you find yourself there at certain hours and you are picked up, the assumption is whatever goes on there, you also go to do the same thing. Yeah. So, my directors and proprietors, let's work on the admission letters. Some of them, they are poorly constructed. In fact, sometimes when I read it, then I ask myself, this is an educational institution writing this bad language, and definitely it's not coming from it. That tells you either whoever is on that schedule is doing his own thing. In fact, I wish I could read some of them here. The language is so terrible. So clearly it tells you that it is not coming from there. It's just somebody who is cooking documentation to get a permit for somebody who doesn't deserve it. That my appeal to you is we should make it difficult for them to use us to what? Get permits to stay and perpetrate whatever they are doing. But the system intends to get them out. And we know we'll start running to you, the institutions. Because Ghana today is ranked number 1 in cyber fraud. Yes, in the world. Ghana is ranked number 1 in cyber fraud. And it is not Ghanaians who are doing it. No. We know those who are into it. We have all the intelligence, everything. And we are on their heels. So now, I wouldn't mention nationalities. They will begin to troop into your schools because they must legitimize their stay. And they're always between the ages of 15 and maximum 27. You see, they have their sponsors. They bring them, rent 4-bedroom apartments. They can be 20, 30 in there. They are feeding them, they are doing everything there. Now we are on their heels. They keep moving from one location to another. So please, watch it. They will be knocking at your doors. But look at those, and when you give them admission, insist that they come to school. Yes, insist that they come to school. Because if they are picked up and we trace back to your school, there could be a recommendation that maybe that school is just, that we have 1 or 2 schools on our list that they don't really even exist physically. It's just somebody's creation is going to register, gotten accreditation, just providing documents for people to get permits for whatever reason. Some, they want the permit not for bad reasons, but to some of the embassies they take those permits to. It's trafficking. You know, some of them just come to your school because if you are a Togolese, for example, and you live in Ghana, and you want to go to any of the European or other embassies for visa, you must be legally resident and you must have residence permit to show. Otherwise, go back to Togo. And that is one of the motivations. In fact, the embassies are giving us statistics. They are now collecting. I mean, when the trend starts, they see what is happening. Particular schools, they will come. You ask for them, they will come. You will never know. They will even sponsor people to become students in your institutions to see if such people really are within your institutions. And we are beginning to have statistics from the embassies. So let's watch it. And as for them, they wouldn't mind. They will write to the government that, look, this institution is doing this. And it's like trafficking, because if the person is not in your school and you give him documents to come and get visa to, say, Spain or wherever, what are you doing? You are trying to assist the person travel improperly. So please, let's watch. These are the few things. I wouldn't belabor the point. I'll leave it for you people to also come up with the issues you have. There may be general reasons why we have these things. Yeah, I spoke about the middlemen. Yes, and what is the way forward? It's like, because the requirements are so easy coming, because most of them, if they go for actual permits, there are a lot of things we exempt students from. For instance, they don't do medicals. Any other foreigner who wants to do permit in Ghana, even except the diplomats, you are working with Unilever, Cadbury, wherever, whoever is employing you, you have to do a mandatory medical test, medical examination. And that costs about 900 Ghana cedis. And 2, you will have to provide a security clearance report. In Ghana we call it police report, from your home country or your last country of residence. Maybe you are a Togolese, but you were living in Cote d'Ivoire before moving to Ghana. Cote d'Ivoire system must clear you that you have no security issues before. So these are key requirements. And if you are doing business, there are other requirements you need to fulfill. Most of you hear of Gutta closing shops. Every day there is trouble in the market. Some of them are using students' permits because they have not met the requirements that immigration will give them what? Permit. Yes. And it's easy to close the shops, or it's easy for immigration to act if you don't have the permit. In fact, even when you have met the requirements of the companies or GIPC, whatever, you need to have a permit before you can operate. So once we come and you don't have a permit, even if you meet the requirements, we'll close you down. So most of them are running for what? Student permits. So it is when the person is, oh, I have a permit, then when you look at it, he's supposed to be learning computer somewhere. Yes, some of them, those of them who are into electricals and whatever, they will find a school that is closer, you know, and those of them who are into catering and whatever, they will look for the hospitality schools. That is what they are doing. And the 419 ones, they'll say they are doing computer engineering. You know, recently something happened. I wouldn't mention the school. We apprehended 4 Bangladeshis. I hope we all know Bangladesh. It's an English-speaking country. Far there. Coming here, looking at the age brackets, and that they were here to learn what? English. One. It's like a Gambian coming to Ghana to learn English, or a Ghanaian going to Gambia to learn English. It doesn't add up. You know, if I go to Togo to learn French, it makes sense. If I go to Burkina, Ivory Coast to learn French, it makes sense. That a Nigerian coming to Ghana to learn English, excuse me to say, it doesn't make sense. You know, 4 Bangladeshis coming to learn English in Ghana, and the age bracket leaves much to be desired, but they were able to get documentation from one of our language schools. And when we pulled up their records, whatever details they gave in processing their visas, the reason is different from the reason they gave at the airport and what they are in here to do. You understand? Yes, Bangladesh. If we all remember Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, you know they are neighbors. We heard of that Catholic church attack in that area. So if you have people from that area moving into your country without any real reason for being here, you should have cause to be worried. And the easiest way they could get is a school. But I think the agent to do the work for them didn't think fast. He should have known that English wasn't the best language. But anyway, apart from English, probably they wouldn't fit into any of our institutions, so language. So these are the realities we face as we sit there trying to help you process your permits. Because we want it such that things are easy for you. The students don't face frustration or whatever. Then they are encouraged to come. Then they send a good testimonial out there to their compatriots. Now, in Ghana, once you meet the requirements, it's easy. Life is not that difficult for you. We don't want to begin to be what? Tussling with you guys. No. This and that. No. So we first of all want to give you people the opportunity to help us by improving on the documentation so that we know. And there are some schools issue admission letters every day. There should be a system whereby at any point in time, like as I'm sitting here, as at Monday, I was supposed to provide statistics of permits, students' permits I've issued from January to June, by nationality, by institution, gender, age bracket. So in the same way, if for instance I come to SELBS can tell me, oh, for the July stream, we have this number of students. June, we know with the language schools especially, it doesn't follow the semester system the universities use. For the universities, we don't have those challenges. It is the language and the pre-tertiary institutions that have those challenges. And then the technical schools, you know. Fine, you can do better. When the documentation is quality, even if it is there, we know that, yeah, this is really coming from the school. But where, even the same day, there are 3 different admission letters from the same school, signed by 3 different people. At least, admission letter is not a document that we should just say anybody at all can sign. We can say it's the registrar, assistant registrar, at any point in time, they should, but if in the same day, the same school, 3 different people are signing 3 different letters, that is the same thing. It leaves much to be desired. Then in some schools, he's the director, the registrar, he's the cashier. The same signature. See, there is no room for accountability and what? Yes, accountability. Because at least if you meet the standard of a basic training or educational institution, you should have the director there. You have a registrar or administrator. Then you have, an accounts office, a cash office. I have a problem especially when I see the directors signing, issuing the receipts. And when you see the kind of receipt they issue, just tells you that it's just printed something from the printers just to use to do business, which is not good. That is how the middleman will also take advantage. You issue 1, he issues 5. Meanwhile, it's coming in your name. Yes, I recollect way back when I talked about SELBS. At a point we're having any student coming say SELBS. So one day, through Yapu, we invited your father, we sent some information. And they realized that no, within the period, the number of students who came in the name of SELBS, about 30% were not with SELBS, they were in other institutions. Meanwhile, at the border, we knew SELBS was what? And they were having things to show that they were coming to SELBS because it became somebody's business, because they know that when you get to the border and say you are coming to SELBS, we know SELBS is this, will let you go. But when it became, no. In fact, he came to Aflao, initially it was, but when he got the import of what we were trying, he came and we became friends. That was my first connection with SELBS. And later on, one of their students, I met her in an airport somewhere, and he recollected me very well at the border and how the director used to talk about me. It's in one of the international airports in Europe, a lady. So please, let's try and work on the documentation. So I'll pause at this point. If you have issues and challenges, let us know. We are all human beings. We are here to help you train the people. You are training Ghanaians as well. And I think the foreign component helps you train the Ghanaians at a lesser cost. And indirectly, you are what? Helping the government's agenda in what? Delivering quality education. So we should be seeing to be facilitating your job, but not to frustrate you at all. No, that will be the least thing that will happen. I'm just new here, but I've worked with most of the officers at the command, and they know my principle. we work in a transparent, free environment. Even the last person, we always think the cleaner is the least, but they are the most important people. Should be able to approach you and say, look, sir, if we do it this way, it might be better than the way you are. And I want all of you, your inputs on board, so that if you have real challenges, I may not know, she may not know, let us know. We know sometimes there is a cloak between the leadership and the people who come for the services. If you have real challenges, let us know. But we would really want to make it easier for you to do your business with us, so that together Ghana will be safer for all of us. Students will go and recommend that when you go to Ghana, you don't have challenges having permits. Once you get A, B, C, D, yeah. Yes. Because a time is going to come, enforcement will be moving from community to community. Most of your students live in hostels. And I'm sure the members of the community, when they see them foreign, they've always been reporting to us. There are some hostels at La Paz area there. People have walked into my office several times to tell me this hostel, and most of them are students. So assuming they go there, go pick them up. They are really students in your school, but they don't have permits. What are you doing? Encourage them. Ensure that you get the permits for them. They are paying. You should make it known to them that if you come to study, it will cost you so much to do a permit. And in fact, it's very cheap. So that they have the permit, so that they will not fall prey to some of these things that are in the offering. Because a time is even coming, those who want to live in private homes, even the hostels, they are required to see their immigration status before they accommodate them in the hostels. And we are going to get there pretty soon. Pretty soon, we are going to get there. Yeah. So please, this is the little I have to share with you. Like I said, it's just to get to know ourselves and our challenges as we try to help our students learn in a conducive environment. And before I sit down, I want to take the opportunity to thank the management of SELBS for hosting us here. When I discussed the idea with my officer, he said, oh, SELBS has a bigger place and is central to most of the educational institutions around. So let's speak to them. And they willingly agreed to host us. So, Mr. Idrisu, we really appreciate your efforts to get us together today. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Okay, moving on, we are now going to look at any comment from the gathering. So please, any comment?
Yes, the regional commander and his team, I have a question to ask. It's to the benefit of all the institutions. A student comes to Ghana. She's registered to do the language for a year. Then he got a permit. Maybe he has a class, 6 hours class. Now, as you were explaining the issues, you said you got some students in Legon. Mostly they are ladies and they are doing night work. If the student comes in after the class, and then after the class, she goes in to do her night work, what punishment is it? The school going to be punished for that student's crime, or is the student going to be punished for that crime? I want you to explain this one, please.
See, unfortunately, those students, there were 3 amongst. We had 3 students I'm not here to spoil somebody's business, so I won't mention the schools. There were 3. But in their own, I mean, we don't just arrest you, we don't allow you to. We take them through, we interview them. First of all, some of them have stayed here for so long that they try to speak like Ghanaians. Yes, some of them, they try to tell you that, look, they are Ghanaian. It took us virtually the whole night. We started the exercise at about midnight, 11:30 thereabout. By 1 o'clock, we had written enough that it would be difficult to interview. We closed the next morning in trying to just sieve them. All these 3 students confessed that, look, they don't even know where the school is. You see, we did one in Kasua. There were some who were genuinely students. They were just caught there. We exonerated them. We don't need to hold the school. Like I said in my presentation, if a student walks in here, gets admission, he attends lectures, you can never tell that he has a second motive. That one, you can't be held liable. But where it is established that from the day he walked in, got the admission, paid the fees, and got the documentation to go and do the permit, he never stepped here again. You should have a system to know if your students attend lectures, because as an educational institution, you are training somebody, he goes and they say, oh, he's from this school and he's not doing well. You should be able to get them attend classes so that you can tell that this student, after registering, or the whole month, we haven't seen him or her. If in this situation, they themselves confessed, they don't even know where the school is. They just paid somebody money and you got a permit for them. In fact, we got some who were real students. Our group, you know, he's a schoolboy, things get hard sometimes. So weekends, he joins them. He really didn't know what they were doing. He sees that they are living good in the apartment there with, you know, funny enough, he assisted us to even retrieve more computers from one building. There were 13 guys in a 2-bedroom apartment. When we entered, they have something like in the living room, like a conference table, set up with 12 laptops, 4 routers. Do you see? And they have more, for whatever reason, they have more computers. We didn't know. You know, when we tried to get in, they were trying to conceal the evidence before we get in. Because we are not doing any business, not an office, it's just a living quarters. You have computers, and they have 100 and something SIM cards, 60 something used, 50 something unused. Yes. So when we went in, we picked up 8 of the guys. We thought we were done. Not knowing the cabinet, the kitchen cabinets, they have entered there. In fact, it is this boy, an innocent boy. So for him, he actually told us, look, Ogami, I'll tell you the truth. I'm a student, this. Before we even bought, because he wasn't carrying his passport on him. He told us, oh, this is it. And told us, look, about 13 computers more are in the ceiling. And we brought down everything. I think I have the pictures here, I'll show you. Our officer, they were removing the computers from the... No, there are genuine students who find themselves at the wrong place. That one, nothing. But when we established from the school, he's there. We left him. Where the students find themselves, like you said, yes, man must survive. If they go doing those, I don't think when they pick them, they come to, let me use self-service, they come to say, yes, he's a student here, he comes. They just will caution him. There are laws against that. Maybe he will just be taken through the local law, but you won't send him away because of that. Unless a court of law says that law. No. So, genuine students who find themselves into those things, like I said, you, the proprietor or the director, cannot, I mean, if he's not in school, you cannot police him or her. No. That cannot be your headache. But like we are saying, if at the end of the day we come here there is nothing to show that in the last 1 month he has attended classes, then clearly, you know, some of them, they will break down and tell us that some of the permits they bring, when we look at it and it's too bad, we said, okay, bring the student for interview. The agents will play all kind of tricks if we insist. Some of them will even say they are withdrawing it. Then you realize that it is not coming from the school. I think we don't want to be knocking at your doors every day. Otherwise, every day we'll be calling some of your schools. You know? But where it is too bad, we will come. Because in this Bangladeshi case I cited, it didn't take so much time for the agent to break down and confess how he went through the whole process. You see. But that is why we think that we must let you know that behind the scenes, these are the things people are using your documentation to do. So if we don't do due diligence and accept them and process them, these are the likely consequences. And they are able to do it because some of you, the schools, your documentation is so poor. You don't have a standard letterhead. Every day the letterhead keeps changing. And when we call to confirm, say yes, it's from here. Meanwhile, there is no consistency. You know? Please help us. And all this is in the safety, for the safety of all of us living in Ghana. Even your students are at risk. They like to visit the malls, the waterfalls and whatever. Anything can happen. Terrorists, their target is where people are gathered because they want to hit and hit hard. When they hit a target and there are Ghanaians, Burkinabes, Togolese, Zambians, then the whole of Africa will what? Feel it. And that is how they operate. And unfortunately, our own brothers, now terrorists are no more. In the past we think that it's somebody from Pakistan, Afghanistan. No. The Sahel region is more dangerous now than Afghanistan, Pakistan. The Sahel region, Niger, Mali, Burkina, that the Tuaregs. And they are own people. If he's working with you and I, nobody will know that that is him. He comes to live in Accra for 3 months, he begins to speak Hausa. He will tell you, I'm from Zongo. I'm from Newtown. You see, I have a Zongo background, so I know what I'm talking about. In the past, we were not dangerous. But now the Tuaregs, look, if you look at the guys who did the bombings in Burkina Faso, the churches, they are the local guys. They use them. So we are talking from experience. I have a mate whose daughter, as we speak now, is in Libya. Is in the custody of the Libyan authorities. She joined ISIS. He was doing engineering in tech. I think you read that story. The mother was my junior in school. She was our girls' prefect when we were in school. They are twins. One has just graduated from law school. Very brilliant girl. But if such a person is okay, but she's there right now as we speak. And now the mother, for whatever reason, anywhere she's going, we are following her back, left, right, center. Yes, because the daughter is with ISIS. Who knows what the connection can still be? Her phones, everything will be tapped. So we are actually living in tricky times. And you know, Ghana, we are an oasis of peace in a turbulent region. Yes. Some of your students will tell you, if they have the opportunity and they finish school, they will remain here. Because in most of their countries, life is not as we have it here. You know? So, as for those ones, we'll not hold you the school for. Because you can't police your students everywhere. No, nobody is going to hold you for that.
Thank you, Excellency. for coming here today. I can say that today is one of the greatest days that we have got from you people. We have problems that we want to bring out. I have 2 points that I want to bring out. First point is, we are having students. Right now they are with us in Ghana here. We have about 15 students, but they don't have passport. They came to Ghana, they come to Ghana with their ID. And then when we heard that immigrations are going to come from school to school, we quickly went to them yesterday and we report the issue to them. We reported the issue to them, but they mentioned their own problem to us that we need to submit to you today so that you should give us the answer. Okay. They said that it's true that they are not legal in the country because they don't have a passport, which shows that they should be in Ghana. So if it's possible for the immigration to give them about 4 months so that they quickly go back to their country, now that they have started the courses, it's going to be easy for them to stop the course, to go back to the country for the process. That's the first question. My second question is, we have some students, they have passport, they have taken the first resident permit, but some of them, it has expired. And they have problems. Some of them, they have about 2 or 3 month penalties. And what the median months are telling them is, they told them that if you go to the immigration for the resident permit, you need to pay the penalty, but not according to the resident permit parts, to the amount you spent in Ghana, but the penalty is going to be paid on your resident permit. Like if you pay 150 or something to your resident permit, if you want to pay the penalty, you need to pay again that one. Some of the students, when they figure out that that's the problem, they rather go back to their country without taking the resident permit. That's one of the problems we have. Okay, the third one is, as we said, that the immigration people are going to be going from school to school. It's very good. But you know, our students, most of them, well, even though they have the resident permit, they don't like moving around with their passport because they are afraid of losing their passport. Okay, is it possible for them, anytime they want to come to school, they should carry along with them their passport? Or they should come once, or if you want to come, you should just alert us up. This school, we are coming here this day, so you have to be prepared so that we prepare the documentation to wait for you. That's one of the questions. The last point is, as you said that you want to have the good relationship with the schools, and we can even figure out from what you said, we are really comfortable. Personally, I'm very comfortable because this is short occasion that we're looking for in Ghana here to stand in front of, before my immigration people to spread the speech about the schools and mostly the student issue. I'm a francophone. I deal with them and I'm also one of their leaders in this country. So is it possible, like some of the time we have problem, personal problem in the school, and then we should write a letter to you, or we should quickly run to the immigration to confirm the problem before you come to us first. Because once you come, the student sees you like this and they'll be afraid. They'll be afraid that some of them will be moving around, they'll be running away. They'll be running away, like it will spoil the school's name. It will spoil the school name. Some of the competitors be using it to spoil the school's name. Usually school, they don't have they have this. These are the things that I want to point out. It's possible to give out the answer. Thank you very much. Thank you.
So I'll respond to these ones before we take the next set of questions. Yes, students without passports. We know in the ACCRA sub-region, most people travel without permits. In fact, that is why the Ghana card or whatever is being pursued vigorously now. But as I speak to you now, some countries are even moving from region to region, depending on the numbers they have in Ghana, issuing the passports for them. So, and I'm sure those you are talking about, they don't have embassies here. Because if they have embassies, they can help them. But if they think that going through the embassy, it will take long. Even Gabonese, I think now they issue passports for them here. Yeah. We don't have a problem. Just let us know. We'll give you that. But once you make the efforts to regularize your stay, we are fine. We'll give you that opportunity. Then when they get their passports, then we can proceed. no problem. But those who have embassies here, in fact, a lot of the embassies have made the move to regularize their residence stay. They move from one region to the other to gather their residents, their nationals. Once they are able, they interview and know that yes, you are truly their citizen. They give you, fill the form, they process and get you the passport. So maybe the embassies can also help. But I'm sure some of them want to end the semester, then go get the passport and come and do it. Is that not what you're trying to say? Yes, no problem. We would, that shouldn't be an issue. So yes, penalties. See, that's the problem of the middlemen. You understand? To every situation, there are exceptions. If a student comes with his or her permit, he's in his third year or second year, level 300. He was supposed to come and renew it in January. Maybe his parents didn't send money quickly. There are some other issues, and generally, we can look at it. But the middleman is taking that money. Does he come to account to you in the form of receipts? No. So that is where we have issue with the middlemen. Because I have heard so many stories. The middlemen, what they did. In fact, this Bangladeshi issue I was talking about, they took, is it 10,000 or whatever each? Do you see? Maybe he's going to give some 500 to the person in the school who gave him or her the documents. And look at the amount of money he's taking. But if there is a problem, the school will be called to answer in a way. So I don't think this is an issue. It's just the middleman. Yes, and I have told you, that is why I made the proposal, if it is possible, we deal with the liaison officers of the institutions. You see, it's like I buy this thing to go and sell. From the company, he'll give it to me at 5 cedis. Then I will add my 1 cedi, selling it at 6. But if somebody is buying it from me to go and sell, I give it to him 6. He also add his, it becomes what? 7. Because the middleman is not doing that thing for free. He's doing it because of what he's going to get. I mean, he's not a Father Christmas. He's not a philanthropist. You see, you have created businesses for people who don't qualify to do those businesses. And they are making huge monies in your names and not doing the right thing. Do you understand? Yes, the middleman is collecting all those monies. All you know, he will come and cry and plead with Ibrahim, please, this student, he can't even eat today, I beg you, pass it for him. And he pockets all the money. Do you understand? So as for the penalties, it's the middleman. It's the middleman. And it's dangerous, even me. I don't carry my passports around, even though sometimes I'm called, produce your passport copy because of short travels and whatever. In fact, those in the business world, the Europeans, the Americans, the best is, today technology is so simple. They all have Android phones. Snap the permit and the biodata page, or even a photocopy in your bag. In fact, when we go around the companies and the shops that we visit, we don't expect to see hard copies there. When you pick the passport, the copy, see, there are certain file numbers and things. When we go back, we are able to tell. We don't even need the original. So they don't need to carry their passports because they risk losing it. And we know how difficult it is to get a passport in a foreign land. Yes, when I travel, my passport is in the hotel safe in my room till I'm leaving. Unless we are going somewhere and they say carry your passport because you will need identity. So they don't need to carry their passports. Just a copy of the permit and the biodata page is sufficient. And the visiting of schools and whatever. No, it's not going to be like we just get up every day. You know, we move or we work on intelligence. We don't just get up and come to selves that we are coming to see how many students. No. The job we do analysis of the kind of permits we receive. This school, you see some of your schools, we recce and look at the structure that you have. One room school. Meanwhile, on our records, you have 500 permits in the name of your school. The question is, where do they attend the classes? And it is not an online school. If it is online, the person can stay in his country and do an online study. Do you understand? Yes. Some of the schools, we know your locations. You don't know we know. It's just one room. Meanwhile, he has students more than Mr. Dimye. I'm telling you, by our records. So these are the things we are talking about. So we are not just going to get in the your students may face those things in where they stay. Because if there is intelligence that this hostel, you know, the hostels are not only students. People who are not students also stay in the hostels. So if we know that this hostel is inhabited by foreigners, and now you see some of our neighbors or our foreign brothers and sisters, when they live in the communities, they are not sensible or sensitive to the what? The issues of the community members. Some of them will block roads, create all manner of problems. So it's the community members who are now giving us the evidence, the intelligence that look, they are here, they are there. They will even tell you the kind of business they are doing. You know? Yes, we have community members coming to tell us that look, this guest house is purely a brothel. They're just keeping ladies there and bringing in men and out. So we want it rated because the young girls going in the community can also learn that. They don't want it. You see, our communities are getting away. When young children started getting missing in certain communities, you saw what the reaction was. Certain communities said they didn't want certain nationalities. In fact, by force, they were trying to push them. The state had to come in that no, let's do things right, because you also have your brothers and sisters in other countries. So with the schools, we're not going to be harassing you every day, this and this and that. Even when they come, they will come to you in the office. We have this list. Can you really confirm? You know, that kind of, they are not going to come, hey student, no. We're not going to do that. But assuming there is intelligence of a hostel somewhere, and I know they always like to stay together. The Malian students, once one is in a hostel somewhere and it's good, it's fine, others join, you know, they always want to. If there are one or two other things happening within the community, now every day we are receiving calls. We have this number of people living in this house, the wall is so high, we don't know what they are doing, they are foreigners. Please come after them. You know, not every day now, since we started this sensitization, even though we've not even gone national yet, it's in the periphery. Our PRO was on a few media houses just to, then that is a teaser, you know. So let's also advise our students that there are certain locations, the students, they know that there are bad places in quote, or the kind of things people go and do there. It's not good. Fine. Because a normal nightclub and whatever, nobody will go there reading to the nightclub. Everybody goes to the club. It depends on your orientation and whatever. And no serious security institution will go reading a nightclub for any reason. No. It is the dwelling places. The dwelling places and where they operate. And then with regards to the ladies too, it is the communities. It's the communities that come. For the East Legon one, for instance, the residents had to And there are other areas. It's not only East Legon. There are other areas. Medina, Reese Junction area, Redco area. It's also infested with them. You go to Bachona, Ecobank area. It's infested with them. As early as 3 o'clock, 4 p.m. You see them line up in the streets. And you and I know, if you see a Ghanaian sister, you know. If you see somebody too from a different country, you know. And you know, the women are complaining that they are taking over their husbands. Yes. Yes. In fact, when we were doing the East Legon one, you know, the MCE is a woman. I mean, that was the conversation. The women, every day they are in the office, that look, they are taking over their husbands. And that's the reality. So, with that one, you don't have any cause to fear. We're not going to come harassing your students. No. I think the key thing we want you guys to help us now is bring up your documentation. If it's okay and that kind of, there will be no issues. And then, there will be no issues. With the passport issue, why not? Once you let us know, we don't have a problem. And once we have that data, even if for any reason a team goes there, we'll be able to stand in for you. Oh, this batch of students, we are aware this is the challenge. They are ready to do the right thing, but they need time up to A, B, C, D to handle it. That shouldn't be a problem at all. But most of them, their embassies have seen the need to, so they've already started going around from region to region, issuing them the permits. Yeah.
Good afternoon, sir. Thank you so much for the explanation given. I wanted to start with the first, question, but it has been asked by my friend, talking about some kind of national ID card. I say national identification card. All right. I don't know if it has been cancelled, but the problem that we are having in our institutions, it is about ID card. When people who are coming from West Africa, when they are coming, they come with their ID card. Sometimes when they come, they spend more than 2 years without having any resident permit. And we are facing those challenges. If you want to solve this problem, it's better that you just collaborate with embassies. For instance, our embassy, we don't issue passport here. These are the problem. Even in my institution now, I'm having more than 30 people who are having a national identification card, without any passport. So there's a need for you to consult them. For students who are having national identification card to be having passport. Because when we talk about documentation, we are talking about, passport. So if it has been cancelled, because when they are coming, they say that we come from West Africa, we need any passport to just walk in and come, we study, we get back home. So if you can put this kind of things in place, I think it's going to help you. It is a burden that we are having, seriously. Because it might be something which is somehow difficult for you to solve those problems. So if you want to solve those problems for us, and then you need some kind of, information, some credential, it's better that you start with passport. For people who are walking in without passport. My friend has just asked this, the same question. Now the second question is about, people who are coming for 2 months. They are having ID card, passport. They are coming for 5 months, 6 months, and when they finish, they get back home. Most of the time when they are coming, you do give them something like, 30 days or 2 months like that. You understand? But some people come for 5 months, and the resident permit is for 1 year. When it's given to you, it's something for 1 year. It's which is stamp. So when they come, and then after they finish, they are moving out. And this problem, these people may create some problem, and it's the problem come. You are going to blame us. It is not our fault because the person has come for 5 months. That's the second problem. We have, to sit down and try to find way of, bring up the solution of the problem. Good. And the last one is about, you coming, walking in. Because if I, maybe, listen to you carefully when you were saying that, sometimes you be coming and walk in. When you walk in, you try to find out some people who have been having some kind of resident permit, all those things, or if people who are maybe having some resident permit, if they are in, but assuming that they have finished, and then we don't know where they are. The question is, how are we going to find them in case of any problem? So this is a problem that we are just facing. All right, and also it says something which is very important. The way that you are dressing like that is, I may be afraid, I personally, when I see you coming in, I'll be afraid. I will say, sometimes, even last time, my students were just running away. That we heard that attacks over there, they are coming there, arresting people who don't have resident permit, So these kind of things that, we have to be aware. Because I personally am afraid of you guys when you are wearing some kind of, t-shirt. It's very important. So we have to be aware. We have to be informed. Because the business that we are doing is business that it's very important, because what we are trying to raise, it is for the benefit of institutions, for benefits of national, Ghanaian national, and even other nationals. And you are doing, it is not a small job that you are having. It's a burden for you, because you won't sleep. You'll be having some people. Even I personally have been sacking some people who are coming to my office. When you look at them, you find out that he has not come for study. I will ask you, so what kind of doing? Even last week, I sacked someone who come and tell me that, I want some kind of papers and I want to study some, what are you doing? Tell me, what kind of things are you doing? And when I force him, later on he got to tell me that doing business, what kind of business that you are doing. So finally I told him, go and come back. He did not come back. So these people, it is a very huge challenge that we are facing. So just to summarize, I want just to let you know that when you are coming in, we have at least to be aware of what's going on. And there's also something that maybe, about the money that is supposed to be, sent to immigration. We have to know it. And for us to encourage them, because some people are coming in, they don't have money. Some people don't have money. So if we encourage them to go and pick this kind, of resident permit, it's going to help them a lot. So this was my little problem that I would like to get some explanation from you. Thank you.
All right. Thanks so much. To start from the last one. In fact, we'll make the fee schedule available to you. And in fact, we block our website to update it. Otherwise, if you go to our website, the fee schedules are there. So you will have it. You will have the fee schedule. But it's not, I think ECOWAS nationals is 150 Ghana, and then the others 200 Ghana. That is for a year. The penalty is 60 per month. 80 Ghana per month. Yes, you see. Then yes. So with the fee schedule, that is not a point. And then the next one, the duration of the permits. In fact, that's the first problem I had with my own officers when I took over. You will see most of the schools, you are doing very well. You've stated clearly that this person is coming to do a 9-month course from February to December. Then they process it, they come and put a permit before me to sign. Issued today, 25th July 2019. Valid for 1 year, effective 25th July. Which means it's going to expire in July next year. Meanwhile, the person is completing his course in December. So I've even stopped it. I've told them, with effect from somewhere last week, I asked them, no, issue it to tally with the duration of the course. And that is why I was telling you, if your admission letter is clear, that is here to study English for 6 months, we'll issue it, valid up to 31st December 2019. Sometimes we can give him 1 month moratorium because he needs time to organize and leave. So if he completes in December and by January he's still here, we cannot hold you responsible. He needs time to organize and leave. Even people who are on permit, if the company for 1 or 2 reasons is sending them away, we cancel the permit and we give them between 1 to 3 months, depending on the reasons, to prepare and leave. Because he's been living here for 6 months to study. He has friends and other things, how to even send his things and whatever. So that issue has been addressed already. You are no longer going to get your students finishing in June and their permit is still valid to December. No, I stopped it. That was one of the key things I was concerned about. Yeah. And then the ID card with the embassies. We will take it up. So you will let us know which embassy, then we will take it up officially. Then we'll see how best they can help you solve that problem. Because you also need to help the students. Like you said, he wants to have a permit, but he hasn't got the passport to come and even get the permit. So we will take that one up. It's going to be one of my projects. And I think the credit will go to the school for helping students acquire their passports. Either they capture them, I don't know what your systems are. The challenge we have in Ghana is that some of our embassies don't have the equipment to capture. Do you see? So if you are there, unless they arrange and send a team from Accra to say Ouagadougou, you know, the passport process is a whole system. So depending on the embassy it is, like I said, one country right now, they are moving from region to region, capturing the data. Then they issue the passport. We can work it out for you. So I will take it up. Just let me, after this, I'll leave you with my card. I know the embassy concerned. We'll work it through the official channel. In fact, when we let them know that they need to, they will liaise with the embassy, with you, and you will have the necessary arrangement. The embassy will tell us maybe if they have challenges or whatever. But if they don't have challenges, once we come in, they will be willing, because what they are here to do is to ensure that their citizens are comfortable. They are here to actually service the citizens, whether student, business, or whatever. It is because of them they are here. So they should be willing to help you. It's just unfortunate sometimes our African diplomats will only come in when we realize that this one, when we don't come in. But with the Europeans and the Americans, the least call, within minutes, somebody will be there to attend to their citizens. They are doing well in that direction. And they will make sure, even if they will capture the data, send it to wherever, they will get the passport and bring it to the person. So we'll help you work on that one. And like I promised, you have the fee schedules. And that is the fees. There is nothing beyond that. 150, 200, and then the penalties, 60 and 80. And like you said, I've always told them, the agents will take the total penalty and come and plead with you, and you issue it, and he pockets it. Meanwhile, he's telling them he's bringing that money to you, which is not. Yeah.
Mr. Commissioner, good morning, and thank you very much for this very important discussion that you are having with us today. In fact, this is the very first of the kind, for some of us who are in this business almost 18 years now. Thank you very much. But I have two quick questions. One, the duration of the issuing of the permit. Sometimes a student normally use their passport to take money from the banks when the parents really send their sent to their wards. But when the application is being made, sometimes it takes a month, sometimes a month and a half. Yes. So, in fact, that duration actually tends to be a problem. So, if something can be done in regard to this, it will be very much appreciable. Question number 2 is to talk about the middlemen. I'm sorry to say this. In your own outfit, in your office, the middlemen are just too much for our taking. The person I know is the immigration office. So I deal directly with the immigration office. But a student will come to my office and tell me that, oh, my brother or my sister knows an immigration officer. Therefore, just prepare the documents for him to send. And I become very angry with this issue. And then ask, who is this person? He said he's an immigration officer. Which part of the immigration office is he working? Because formerly you were all at the main office here. Then the office has been split, and you are now at the other end of the office as of now. So it becomes a problem because when the passport or the permits are issued, you, the director of the office, you have the problem. Because if there will be any problem on your outfit, it will be on our shoulders. So you begin to play this hide and seek game, and how do I touch the immigration officer? Because if you are not very careful, they will just put a very huge padlock and put on your office, and that is the end. So please, officer, would you be very kind enough to really have a tete-a-tete meeting with all members of the office? Those who are in your office, the issuing permit office, they know. But those who are in the main office, over there, just behind the GBC over there, they do not know. They will tell you, give me permit, give me this and that. They do not know what actually you need for us to prepare the permit. And finally, in my school, what we do is that when you get the permit, we ask you to do a photocopy where the permit is and where your picture is. Now, they come to take these letters to those agents that they are there, and they don't bring back the passport. They don't bring also the photocopy of it. So when today, Mr. Officer, you come to my office, and where is this person? I want to see his permit. I showed the photocopies of it, but you want to see the person in question. Where do I get it from? But your colleague in the office has really condoned and connived with this attitude. And when this is done, I think there is a big problem. Sir, thank you so much.
Good. I think I mentioned middlemen. I mentioned middlemen in my presentation. So a middleman has no color. A middleman could be somebody who lives around the school and realize I can make a business out of it. Or even a staff of the school who beyond his or her schedule thinks I can use this. Or at my end, the middlemen are the reason why we are here today. I am strongly against it. And if I will succeed in cutting them out, it behoves on you to help me. I'm aware some officers own schools. When I say own schools, maybe if it is SERVS, he comes to SERVS, takes the application, everything. So in the process of doing that for SERVS, he will use SERVS documents to get permits for people who are not students of SERVS. Because you trust them to the point that some of you give them the letterhead. That is why the signature and things are not consistent. Yes, you give them the letterhead. Look, an average permit, let's assume that we are overwhelmed with work, shouldn't take more than a week, 1 week, if the documentation is okay. In fact, since I came, you see, the connection man will take it from you today. He will spend that money on other things. If it takes him 6 months to get money, that is when he will then present it to immigration. That is why in our process, for instance, if the school brings it, we will give you a slip showing that we've received an application for Kwesi Menu for a permit on this date, and we indicate when to come back for the permit. In fact, our standard processing time is 2 weeks, but we don't do 2 weeks at the region. No, unless there is a problem or maybe an issue. In fact, it is to make things easy. That is why they separated the students from the main work and moved it to the Greater Accra region. So Greater Accra region, one of our key tasks is the students' permit. You know, everything was at the headquarters. Those of you who've been in this business for long, everything was lumped up there. I remember there were times students were going for Christmas holidays, and a big sack of student permits were waiting because there was so much pressure, because it wasn't given that attention, you know. So it is to stop all these things that students' permit was removed to the Greater Accra Regional Command. And if you submit a case today, an application today, with everything on it, unless there is power outage or something, by tomorrow morning, it should be ready. Because if you submit an application and there is a query or something, there should be a contact number to call. But some of the phones, you call, the person picking is around Makola, he has no idea about what, they just put any number there. Since I came, I insist that, look, on the phone there is a place for address and phone number of your home country. They used not to put it. I insist. You have local phone number and whatever. If there is, so that if there is an issue, we can call to ratify it, you know. So the duration, since I came, I am somebody, I don't like delays. That is why even with missing my road and whatever, I set out early enough, at least by 5 or so minutes to 10:30, I was here. That is how I do my work. When I say 10 o'clock, my 10 o'clock is 10. And in this, that is how I also do my work. That is what we've been discussing for the past 1 month. What causes the delays? The contractors, that is the middlemen. How do we get them out? They are the main problem. Whether it is penalty, whether it is, some of them will tell you I've submitted it, he hasn't brought it. He hasn't brought it. No permit submitted to, even at the main office. It's 2 weeks. And students, we don't handle that much in a day. So it shouldn't take more than, in fact, when I came, funny enough, I have even told them that they should delay cases to 1 week for us to do due diligence, because we do it the same day as we speak now. From the day they present it today. So some of the things, I see that the letter is dated May. You see that the letter is dated May, but they just presented it yesterday. I mean, it's been with the supposed connection man or whoever that long. And we do, since I came, the cases go through the process the same day to me. And I am even saying that, look, the kind of things I'm seeing, let's do mandatory 1 week so that we can do due diligence. In fact, I am telling you as we speak now, no case, if it is presented and paid today, by close of day or latest tomorrow by midday, it's ready. So the delays don't come from our end. Either they don't bring it, or he brings it, there is an issue, we tell him or her, go rectify it, and he's keeping it. You understand? He has come to you to take 3 months penalty. He has spent it. He managed to convince the cashier to let him pay only the fee. It gets to me. They processed it all right. It's ready for signature. I said, no, go back and pay the penalty. Because I have done my checks and he has taken the penalty from the student. Do you understand? For instance, something comes from your school. I realized this is 7 months penalty. But what is before me, he's only paid only the 200 Ghana. Then from whatever is on the form, I managed to get to you. Oh, check with this your student. What happened and it took that long to renew? Or there is this penalty. Who is processing it that is not paying the penalty? Then you get back to me that the student says he's paid all the penalty to whoever he gave the thing to. And I'll say, whoever brought this case, get him to come and pay the penalty. If he has no money, the thing will be lying there. It is not we who are delaying it. But if you had come direct with it, you are not even able to pay the penalty, you explain. We'll reach a middle ground and we'll do it for you. No delays. I am telling you, since I took over, and that has been the practice, processes don't take more than 48 hours if everything is on it. If there is a delay, either whoever is submitting it didn't submit it, then you wait. When they begin to push him, there was a case yesterday, an Equatorial Guinean. The officer involved is somewhere on an operation in the north. So the student reported it to his embassy, the Equatorial Guinean embassy. She handled it. She was just briefing on me yesterday. Before, quickly from nowhere, it was brought out. So you see the middleman. So you must let the students know that. Let them know. I think that is why I propose that you do it like the universities. As part of your fee schedule, this is what the permit will cost you. You factor all into it. Then you just take it straight to immigration. KNUST, that's what they do. Legon, the tertiary institutions, that is what they do. Or you tell them, you prepare the documentation. Possibly you can even accompany them. Get somebody from the school. My target is to cut out the middleman, because there are funny adverts on Facebook. Those of you on Facebook, there are funny adverts on Facebook. If you need a student permit, this and this and this and this and this, rates of charges and all funny things. They even charge the student more than what he pays for the permit. When it is not anything, you walk in. Our office is at the ministries. It's an open place, public place. You walk in, fill the form yourself, because in fact, whatever is on that form, you are held accountable, the student, but they don't fill it. The middlemen fill it for them. Attempt signing their signatures, or they will put ASB. If it is my application, SAB. You see? And I've still started querying those things. If the person is really a student in school, he should be able to sign a signature, not initials. QYZ. It's not a signature. When you can see on the passport that the person has a signature, it's different from what is on the form. If the school decides that the liaison officer signs for them, we know the liaison officer's signature. Every application coming from SELBS, it is the liaison officer's signature. That one is a different thing. So the delays, I can tell you, if you want, try it. Don't even come for it. Use any ordinary student. Let him come there, present it, everything is up, and see. And I've asked them that they should start. Because of that, most of the cases you're talking about, if I ask you, produce the slip showing that he presented the case a week ago, you don't have it. Do you know that every application you submit to us, we are supposed to give you a passport retention slip? It has the name of on the passport, the date of issue, the passport number, the date you submitted it, and the type of permit you are applying for, residence permit, extension. Any service we render, when you submit, we give you a slip. It shows when you submitted, what type of service you are asking for, and it tells when you should call in to pick it up. You see? And in fact, because whilst the permit is in our custody for processing with the passport, the student requires identity or something to show that he has an identity, and that is the slip. In fact, you can check into a hotel with our slip, because that shows that your passport is with the immigration authority. The number is there, and you will see the name of the officer who is issuing the slip. Yes. We know some of them go to other locations, maybe pick an old permit, slip book that has been discarded, issue something to you just to show that he submitted it. That is not true. The connection men, they delay the things before they bring them to us. That is the problem. And our own officers, I'm aware, we know some of them. And that is why I don't want it to look like I am targeting officer A, B, or C, and I'm working with my team to bring everybody to the same level. We know officers whose station is Wager. Your jurisdiction is Wager. You will cross Wager all the way to Medina to go and collect applications from a school in Medina, when in fact I have asked Legon to have oversight responsibility over the Medina area. Or if they want and they walk in direct, the school itself, fine. But to come all the way to the region, if you think you can easily go to Legon, the Legon office, you walk in there and submit it. We have all these challenges, and that is what I am fighting. But it can only stop if you talk to your students that, look, if you bring in the first batch of cases within exactly a week, even less, it is done for you. The 1 or 2 will give you to connection men, it will take 1 month, 2 months. You think they won't come back the next time? Or new students coming will not ask. They will stop. It doesn't take more than a week. In fact, a week is too much. Since I got there, things that come to my attention or things that I see, I look at the date of payment. The day they pay, it either finishes that same day or the next morning. It is not finished the same day. Maybe if I leave for a meeting at say 2 o'clock and I don't return to the office to sign, because it's not everybody who signs. The signatures are authorized. The permit, they may finish waiting for signature, but until one of them. That is why we try, at least at any point in time, one of us is there. So as we are both sitting here now, no permit will be signed. We will go back to the office anyway. It doesn't take hours to sign. So it is the connection men that are your problem. They charge huge, you see, they make it look a monster. But it is that simple when you have the documentation. And then they can only get those who are not really students, but they want to use the schools to get, because they will tell you they will prepare the documents. But when you people start doing the right thing, we'll be able to tell who is the counterfeit person and fish them out. Like the Bangladeshis, they were now pleading with us not to go to the school. But when you put it together with what came from the school, there's no difference. When you put the documentation, what they brought for them and what came from the school generally, there's no difference. Because that school's documentation is so poor. So with the connection men on my side, so what I have told them is, if anybody brings an application, give the person a slip, mandatory 1 week, for us to do our due diligence. If I call SELBS, I can give them 3 days to really check and confirm if that application is coming from them. Once I get that confirmed, by the 4th day the permit is even ready. The 1 week is even too much, but 1 week. And this will send my connection men also packing, because if you have already delayed the thing for that long, and once I ask that they should give a slip, they know I'm going to do checks. They will not be comfortable. There are some of the cases, depending on where the person is coming from, we refer for further checks. There was a case we wanted to refer for further checks. The guy said then he's no more. I said, what? You have brought an admission letter, he's in school here. You cannot. You see, we got the guy and sent him back. He wasn't a student. They were just trying to get a permit for him. For whatever reason, nobody knows. So you help us to cut them out. On my side, I'm working at it. It's really, I'm getting names already. But I'm determined to do it. And it is in your interest to make it easy for the students. Yes, we can't run away from the fact that people want to make a living in between. But be reasonable. One of our former directors is late. Those days when we were young officers, about 20 years ago, he will tell you, look, if you go and charge somebody to do Ghana passport for you, do it. If you don't do it and they bring you to me, I will punish you. The late W.K. Abua. Yes, it is not your job, but you've decided to carry it. If you don't do it and they come and report you to me, I will punish you. So the connection men, as for our officers, they are easy to handle. And you see, it is because some of the schools have accreditation issues. They try to use them, because I've seen 1 or 2 permits approved and signed, and when I did the checks behind, the accreditation is still pending. So such schools will go to such people. But my point is, if your accreditation is a period, if it's about 6 months to expire, you start your processes. By the time it expires, you are done with it. And and if all the time your accreditation is okay, and for 1 or 2 reasons, just 3, 1 week or 2, we've been dealing with you. We know that SERPs always renew their documentation on time. If we are doing something for them, we know that maybe there is a hit somewhere to be done. But some of the schools who don't also have the issues like the accreditation and those things, they try using the middlemen. Because I've seen a situation, they superimposed the name of the school on somebody's accreditation. You see, they pick yours. You'll find a nice way of getting themselves there. Photoshop, okay, that's the technical term. You see, so times are coming. We'll begin to call the appropriate authorities. In fact, we have done all that way. We'll have dedicated lines when we call to confirm. And education is just across, it's a walking distance. We can actually go there to see, but they can have insiders. Some of these guys is a network. There's someone at the school, there's someone at immigration, there's someone at education. You see, even though the accreditation is being, when you call education, it will go to its person. So you will say, oh, it's genuine. Even though the letter from the school is not coming from the school, when you call, there is someone at the school who will pick and say, oh, it's coming from the school. So that comes to what? Returns. I think along the line, my predecessor called for your student lists. In fact, the Regional Security Council at our last meeting, they asked me, my first meeting, when I took over the region, you know, we have the Regional Security Council. They meet, they deliberate on all security issues affecting the region. And this is one area, because there is intelligence, and there, all with the security heads in the region, that is where we meet. We discuss the security issues affecting residents of the region. And this student permit issue is one of the key issues. Because there is intelligence from BNI and others who do a real job that know most of it. So I think they made a request. My predecessor, I think, contacted the schools to send us their lists. I'm sure some of you are aware. That will also help us cut out the fake ones. Because if SERVS updates us every week on new applicants and whatever, so you make sure that before the application comes, you've updated us. We'll simply cross-check. Do you see? That name will only find its way in if there is somebody within the institution that is what? Pushing that. We can cut it out. So please, that is why I'm talking about the document. If your documentation is standard, and it will be difficult. You can't even attempt. It's like attempting to sign my signature. I'll get you, or you'll be caught. But within the service, all those, like they know my signature, how I sign it. So, the middlemen, both of us will have to work together to cut them out. And it will save you and the students a lot of money. And this Equatorial Guinea case I was talking about, he collected so much. Ask her. The officer collected so much. And for almost a year, you see, the student that finished is now going back. He hasn't even, he's finished the school because of this. He has postponed his trip by almost 6 times, several months. So the middlemen are not helping you nor me, but they are giving us bad name. And they are making life difficult for your students. So we need to cut it right. Yeah. 1 or 2 more questions then.
My name is Blaise. Thank you for this great opportunity that you are giving to us. This is my first question is about those people don't have passports like what my brother said here. See, most of the West African countries, some of the students, you know that this is West Africa, so I can travel with my ID. So I can go in Ghana with my ID card. Maybe later I will go to the embassy, take the consular card. I'm able to live in Ghana. This is supposed to be in West Africa. But going to take a passport, for some people it's very difficult. Some of them they say, oh, we don't have the money. But some of them will say, oh, me, I want to come to Ghana, learn English, and go back to get a job easily. But the right thing is that you get a passport. But we have a fact also in our country. Second, concerning we have what you call non-citizen card. And this non-citizen card, nowadays, the middleman come to us and say that, oh, there is no program of the non-citizen. You pay this amount and we will do the same for you. And some of the schools also we don't have the administrative like those universities that okay, we can delegate somebody to go to the university. It's not everybody that have the strength to meet the officers at all. And that one, if somebody say that, oh, we can go and face, some of them will be able to do it, but some of them will not able to do it at all. So if there is a possibility that the immigration, the liaison, that okay, this liaison is in charge of this area. Hello. So this liaison is in charge of this, let's say, Northern of ACCRA. Okay, he's supposed to go to those schools and take the passport and bring it to do the resident pay for the student. That would be better. Secondly, we have some people working in schools that they are not students, but they were students that have completed, they are not working for the school. Are they supposed to take resident permit or working permit? If they come to working permit, we have this problem also. It's not all the institutions, like these tertiary institutions, that have the money to take work permit for their staff. Some of them are Ghanaians, they don't need a resident permit. With those foreigners that are working there, they're supposed to take resident permit
or work permit. We have these challenges because if we start checking, we will have all those problems in our schools. The third question is, if the immigration can develop a system that we have issued certificate resident permit for 4-5 years because the school has been running. So now they have started checking. Let's say we catch a student that have registered to our school and have the resident permit in the name of our school. And after 2 years, he has not gotten the opportunity to go to school. And they caught him. And he said that, oh, I'll be a student in this school. And when he comes to the school to check out, maybe the file is not anymore there, or maybe they can recognize the student, oh, we know him. What should be the solution of the case? My last question is, if there is a possibility for us, okay, to the schools to create relationships, straight relationships. There's an officer at the school, okay, at the end of each 2 weeks or 3 weeks, come to the school, take the permit available and bring it. We also have this issue that the student, we find that they have resident permit. They are in our school that they don't have the school resident permit. They have permit, not from our school. They are there. We have this issue. And this institution that we have also, every month or every day we can have admission. Like the case that I say, every day we have new admission. Let's say a school that does these IT courses or professional courses. Somebody can walk in today, get admission. Maybe we start the course in 2 weeks or 3 weeks. So which means every day, if we have a new customer, we have a new admission. And the receipt with the admission will be issued in the same day. So if in case the register officer have this type of case in his office, and he has found out there's another person that got admitted the same month, that's a different time. They have the same month, but in your office, you say, why can every day this school have this admission? So it will also face us a problem. So those are my questions. Thank you.
Yes, we talked about possibly zoning the schools, officers as a zone, visiting the schools to pick up your permits. We'll look at that possibility. And then the issue of passports is a dicey one. And then the permit. See, I didn't want to go into it because when we go there, we'll be muddying the waters. But once you brought it up, we'll discuss it. I'll let you understand the position of the law now. Then we'll see where we'll meet each other. When you read the ECOWAS protocol well, the free movement, you have free movement, right to establish, and right to whatever. But you see that with that still, Ghanaian traders are what? Chasing others out. We have domestic laws. In fact, the ECOWAS protocol, as it stands today, until it is changed, you know, we want to go the EU style, but we haven't gotten there yet. Ghana, when did we start issuing ID? It's just a few years ago. Either to Ghanaian, when you are traveling, either your passport or if you are going to the neighboring countries, you go and take laissez-passer. Because we didn't have ID card system like the French. They had carte d'identité, and Nigeria had the same problem because the ECOWAS protocol doesn't say that just enter. I should be able to tell who entered, for how long has he been there, and that can only be done in a what? A passport. I remember my Aflao days, but because of the spirit of the protocol, we allow people to cross. There was a day my Togolese brothers, even the Ghanaians who go with their passports, for whatever reason we know, they started that to put a stamp on the passport for them, they will take money. And some Ghanaians insisted that I have my passport, but the ECOWAS, I don't have to pay. They say you won't pay, go back. And I also said, okay, I'm not even going to take money. If you don't have passport, go back. That day Aflawo was quiet. Togolese couldn't come because they don't have passports. But because of the spirit of the ECOWAS, we allow. But to come in to learn in another country. In fact, I have had course to assist a Guinean student. In fact, he's a professor now in Nancy. There's a state in France called Nancy. Is it Nancy or Nancy? Nancy. Yes. Hadidia. He attended one of these schools. When he finally got to France, continuing, they needed evidence that he really stayed in Ghana to do those courses he claimed he did. She did. So we now have to go back. The service has to pick the files. Yes, this student had a permit, because that is the only thing that showed that you really came here to do that course. Nigeria, students have completed and have gone back. They are coming back begging us to give them something to show that they were resident here to do their courses, because they will not allow you to do national service if you bring a degree from outside without residence permit showing that you resided there and did the course. Once it was not an online course, you cannot. So the cost of doing the passports, maybe we will have to go in, like I said, we'll meet your embassies. But as it stands today, by our law, our permits are stickers embossed in the passport. Where it is a card we issue, we could say fine. But I'll take it up with my bosses and see. But it's going to be difficult because our permits now is a whole system. We can't vary it only for students. If there will be the need to do that variation, fine, we'll look at it. But for now, maybe we'll get the authorities to talk to your embassies here. See how best they can assist the students get their passports. Then the foreign workers. You see, per Ghanaian laws, we have certain jobs reserved for only citizens. That is retail business. That is the law. That is why the Ghana Union of Traders or whatever are going around closing shops. You can come here and do business, but you must meet certain requirements. Do you understand? If we don't do that, I don't think in their countries somebody can just go in and just start doing any business. You must acquire certain permits. If you engage a foreigner, there are protocols. An ECOWAS citizen who wants to do business here should register a limited liability company in partnership with a Ghanaian. You see? You register it in partnership with a Ghanaian. Then you can have your permit legally and do your business in a certain scope. If we begin to allow anybody at all to do retail business, what will our young men and women do? If you are employing a foreigner, the laws are not there for nothing. They are to protect the domestic job market. If you have a school and you think you need the services of a foreigner, then get the necessary permits from him from immigration. Otherwise, it's illegal. In fact, I have seen receipts. You know, I have learned in the Francophone too as well. And I've traveled far and wide. We meet, conferences, we have rapporteurs. I can tell a French writing from an English writing. And you see a cashier being a foreigner. It's against the law. Is it that the whole Ghana you cannot get somebody with the skills of a cashier? We have even chartered accountants without job in Ghana. Then you will go and bring in somebody to do that. Then the Ghanaian boys are in the streets and they go robbing. The local job market is there. That is why, look, a foreigner can do retail business, but not in a marketplace. You understand? The local market is meant for the local people. That is why the Kuta people are chasing out finally. They can do it, but not in a marketplace. You are supposed to do it outside the market. To do a retail business in Ghana as a foreigner, you should have invested at least $1 million. The calculations are that will be employing not less than what? 15 to 20 Ghanaians to run that supermarket or whatever. But not you come and open a kiosk or one shop and sitting in front. Do you see? When you do that, you are pushing our guys out of business. And those who drafted the laws knew that, and it is everywhere. It might not be implemented to the latter everywhere, but every country is there. You can't do certain jobs. It's reserved only for the locals. Do you see? It's reserved only for the locals. And that is the reason why every day Kuta, in fact, they are putting pressure on government to what? To act. The government in acting too must be cautious. Let's face it, we have our people there doing businesses and whatever. But I don't think they are doing it the way they are doing it here. You understand? Yes. You have come, you have established your school. Employ Ghanaians to do the job for you. He has come to learn English, to go back and get a job in his country. But if your school will come and train them here, you will engage them to be here and working for you. Then you are only making your business. The economy is not making any benefit. Because if I come to a school, you're the owner, you are a Frenchman, I mean in quotes, a Francophone. You haven't gone for a permit. Then you engage your students who are now fluent and can write. They do all the paperwork for you. They don't have work permit, in nothing. Then you bring your French students, you can I give them permit, they do and go. Then what is the system benefiting from? Nothing. Your school should impact in terms of job creation or whatever on the local economy. Do you see? But to employ a foreigner as a cashier, in fact, if the enforcement team comes and whatever, and you know the penalties, it's 5,000 Ghana cedis. You know, we may not go that tangent, but you should also try to include the local people. Assuming you have a cashier in your office who is a Ghanaian, he writes, I see everything. I will not go proving that. But who would? And in fact, there is competition in your industry now. The time is coming. Your Ghanaian counterpart will say, hey, yes, our brothers, we are giving you space and you are squeezing us out. Do you understand? You think they will sit down and fold their arms for you to come from anywhere, just come and take everything? and they are out of business, you either compete fairly or they will find a way of making sure that, because you really have to look at that. Because the traders that are in, what they do is that the Ghanaians go there to buy. Then they will bring it and reduce the price. And some of them, they even smuggle it in. It's difficult to check it. Because he smuggled it in, he will sell it lower. If the Ghanaian sells it at his price, he will lose. Because he had to transport himself, go sleep in hotel, whatever, and come back. He has to add all that cost. But he is able to get it in. He is the source. So he can reduce the price. So at the end of the day, the Ghanaians are not selling. That is why that trouble is there. You see, because if this same thing, he's selling it at 5 cedis, and I'm selling it at 5 cedis 50 pesos, nobody will buy my own until his gets finished. And he will make sure it's not finished. If it's about finishing, he will replenish. Meanwhile, I'm not doing anything wrong. I have to recover my cost. He has only managed to smuggle it in. And the system is deficient and cannot check that. So should I go angry with my family? No. That is why the Gutta people are doing that. So until the system is set that it can check these things, the local laws are there. When you go, the GIPC law is there. You can enter. But in fact, if you are in Ghana with ID card per the law, you are illegal. That is the black and white of it. But that is not where we are going. We need to help you get the documentation and regularize. But they shouldn't go on the tangent that they cannot afford. If it's told that, look, bring a passport today, we're going to get students are going to Paris for a program. If he's going to borrow, you borrow and produce a passport for you. Director, organize a trip to Paris now. The students who say they cannot afford to go to your embassy for their passport, give them the opportunity and see. Even if they will take plane and fly to Ouagadougou and get a passport in a day and come back, they'll do it and come. Please, let us not spoon feed them too. They are here to learn something. You see, that is why we grow and we are crooked citizens. But we've already learned to bend the rules from school. Do you see? Let them know that, look, some of them one day will come and blame you because they will not have anything to show that when they were in Ghana they had permits to do their course. And that will work. A lot of them are losing opportunities just that they won't get to you to tell you. Because no international organization will engage a French student based on the English he's got to learn in Ghana without establishing from Ghanaian authorities that yes, he genuinely stayed here to pursue that course. You understand? So please, we will help you to help them get the permit, but they must be prepared to pay for the cost of the passports from their authorities. Unless of course their authorities are ready to subsidize it for them, but I don't think that it's a statutory document. You are supposed to get it. Like I said, if they say they should go to Paris or wherever for a program today, wherever they will cop the money, they will do it. I don't know if I covered all your questions. The last one was on.
Go ahead.
Sorry, before you start, I think you for the sake of time, you'll be the last person of the question session. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Enyona Megante, and I got a call from immigration to attend this meeting. And I'm not a language school. We run a normal school from nursery to senior high. We are a bilingual school, and if in the papers we are known as the language school, I stand here to correct it. we are not a language school. So I find it even difficult to come to South. That's why you see that I'm late.
Let me correct an impression. We are not meeting language schools.